Welcome to episode 206 of the Left Behind Game Club. This week, we talk about our experience at PAX East in Boston. Let's get right into it.
You're listening to the Left Behind Game Club.
Welcome to the Left Behind Game Club, our never-ending attempt to make sure that no game is left behind. I'm your host, Travis Colnett, and with me today, I have three friends. The first friend, you know her, you love her. Her name is Katie Lesperance.
Oh, hi, I'm back. We're back. We made it.
We're back. The second friend, you know her, you love her too. Her name is Flora Marigold.
Hello, it is your honorary Canadian once again back on the podcast.
And my third friend, you know him and you love him too. I need to get a new one of these. His name is Alex Martin.
Hello, world. We've made it back from Boston.
We survived. So, on this week's episode, we're going to talk about our experience at PAX East in Boston 2026. We've attended PAX in the past. Our most recent experience at PAX was last year in Boston. That episode was 198, so you can go back and listen to that. So on this week's episode, we're going to be talking about the games that we played, the things that we're the most excited to talk about and see in the future. Like I said, we've done this before, but this year is actually Alex's first PAX experience. So I wanted to give you a chance to talk about how you felt the show was. What was it like? Was it exciting? Did you enjoy it? Go ahead.
I loved it. I have never been to any kind of conference before, no Comic-Cons, no gaming conferences. So this was a new experience for me, and it was extremely fun, exciting. Got to meet lots of good people. I met Flora.
Yeah, like actually in person?
Exactly. Yeah, I've heard names.
I do exist tangibly.
Yes.
Who knew?
I've heard all kinds of names for a while now, and it's great to actually see faces and get to talk to them in person. The show floor was much larger than I actually imagined once I saw it in person. Very busy, but lots of fun, and would do again.
Yeah.
Good, because you're invited.
Again. Fantastic.
Would do again. Yes. You're probably wondering, where's Jacob? Because he would normally have recorded all of his impressions with us as well. Well, Jacob's a party animal, and he stayed for longer. So he's not around to talk about the games that he played. So if you want to listen to Jacob's coverage, pay attention to the Crossplay Conversations feed. He's going to be talking about that with Luke, Claire, Hooper, talking about the games that he enjoyed the most. And I would be remiss to say Jacob also had a trivia panel. Again, Jacob is just a master host.
Trooper.
So good. I do not understand how he just can turn it on and work a room. It was just, Alex, you've not really seen anything like that either, right? Like going to a panel where I mean, we've done bar trivia where Jacob is hosting bar trivia, but that's not really the same thing as seeing him work a room with hundreds of people in it, right?
Oh, it was a completely different experience. He was able to control the volume in that room. He kept the audience engaged. It was impressive, I gotta say.
I mean, I have to say, his biggest skill is betraying us and leaving us out to dry for an episode like this. How dare he? But
amazing. So, now that we've kind of done that, we're going to start getting into the games that we played. So I think what we're going to do is going to go round table. We're each going to share two games. If anyone has anything that they want to say about any of the games, we'll have a little discussion. So just to start things off, I'll go first. The first game I played at PAX this year was Grave Seasons. For those who don't know what it is, it's a narrative farming sim. So think Stardew Valley, but the twist here is that it's got a horror setting. So you're doing your farming, you're having fun, doing whatever, going into the mines, getting animals, doing that kind of stuff, interacting with the residents, building relationships with them as well. But the twist here is that any one of them can die at any given time because there's a serial killer in the town. So I heard of grave seasons like quite a bit ago, and I just thought this was a really interesting concept. I love Stardew, but I not really, just because of where I am in my life with kids and everything. The idea of like a never-ending game where I just keep playing forever isn't something. I want a finite end so I can move on to something else. And the idea that, and I'm also kind of on a horror kick still, so the idea that this was like, here's a little narrative story where any of the residents can die because there's someone killing them, and there's multiple endings. That kind of stuff just seemed really, really interesting to me. So when I played the demo, it was cool. So when I was talking to the dev, they said that it's really hard to demo a farming sim, like especially on like a show floor, because like what are you going to have them do, right? So they kind of plop you in the middle of a day, and you get the opportunity to kind of walk around, collect items. You can do whatever. You meet a few of the residents of the town. But as you get later and later into the demo, there's a bit of a tonal shift, and you are walking in town and you stumble upon one of spoilers for this demo if it ever comes out to the public, but you end up stumbling into one of the residents getting murdered by some creature. Maybe there might be a supernatural twist here. And then you're doing like an investigative part where you're having to look at their collect the things that they were maybe holding, the blood trail, that kind of stuff. So they said they tried to, show some of the farming stuff, but make sure you had an interesting narrative beat at the very end, so that it was as a good demo. And so it worked. Like I said, like they said, it was really hard to. I'm not doing the farming stuff in a demo like this, but also that's maybe not what I'm coming to this game for. I think I'd be coming to this game for the narrative, and I would do the farming if required, but I don't think that's what I would be coming to this game for ultimately. Flora.
I think it's really interesting that there were multiple games on the show floor this year that focused on an admixture of farming and horror together.
Yeah.
Because what this is reminding me of, though I did not play Grave Seasons, is Fractured Blooms, which is published by Serenity Forge. None of us have picked this as like a game of the show, so I'm just going to briefly mention it. It's a game that in the demo, at least on the show floor, you loop twice through the exact same day of farming, and it starts to like psychologically break your character. There's like multiple narrators going on in the head. So like that's how the horror manifests there. I'm curious if you could also explain for us how Grave Season shows us the horror. You mentioned death, but how do you know that it's horror? Because farming and horror do not feel like peanut butter and jelly to me.
It's very it's pixel art in this game. So, but it's very overt. It's you've got literally a shadow that appears on screen, and you've got your little sprite character or sprite resident that's there, and they get like slashed into pieces in front of you, and there's pixel blood all over the place. The music tonally shifts. It's dark. It's kind of uneasy. You're having to run back to your home at the very end. Even though it's pixely, I would say also the sound design too did a lot of really good stuff. The screams were guttural. It was like shocking for how cutesy of a game it looks like. So it was an interesting shift, and I kind of like that. It's a game that I like, that games are kind of doing this cozy horror kind of thing. So, I really liked it. It is actually, while we were at PAX, it got announced a release date. So it's going to be coming out August 14th, 2026. Katie.
Oh, wow. I'll be 33 by then.
Oh, wow.
Yay.
And that is one of the first, first crop of games coming out of Blumhouse, Publishing? Yes. Is that what they're calling it? Blumhouse Games Publishing? I'm not sure.
Maybe Blumhouse Games.
Blumhouse's video game arm that they've formed where they're starting to help publish games. And the booth was cool setup.
Bloomhouse?
Bloomhouse? It should be Bloomhouse. Blumhouse.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I'm just thinking about Fractured Blooms. My bad.
Yeah. So I'm like, if these are the kind of like little games that they're going to be helping put out, then I'm interested in what they're going to be doing in the future.
They're doing something right, it seems like. You know, you could have a company come in and try and just like not really get it, but I feel like Blumhouse gets it.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. So, but yeah. So that was my first one. Katie, talk about your first game.
Yes. So my first game is called Crystalmancers. It is think of like a spin on Tetris with a roguelike deck building aspect, which of course your resident roguelike deck builder sicko is like, yes, this is the game. I found this one pretty quickly. I really liked it. I actually spoke with Jack Perkins, who is the founder / creative lead of Vanya Games. It's their first game. And so we have a little interview to show you right now. We are here at PAX East 2026 with Jack Perkins from Vanya Games. He is here with Crystalmancers. So Jack, what is Crystalmancers?
So Crystalmancers is a roguelike block puzzle game. It's essentially a roguelike where your pieces in your arsenal are your weapons and you would upgrade them like you would upgrade a weapon in any other roguelike run. And we kind of wanted to take like block puzzle games as a genre and put that roguelike twist on it because it wasn't something that we had seen done before in like a really effective way. And so that led to a lot of changes throughout development that make it a little bit different than what you probably know in the genre. But I feel like we've really kind of made it our own and there's a lot of exciting stuff for players.
I agree. It's very exciting. Yeah. I really loved the game. I love that you can customize, almost like you're customizing a deck, like a deck builder.
Yeah,
we like to call
it a deck builder with 7 cards.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So this is your first time at PAX presenting a game. How has PAX been? What's been like the biggest learning experience? Have you gotten great feedback from people?
Genuinely, the feedback's been incredible, right? We've been making this game for 2 years, locked away in our house, and like, you know, you always get worried when you show something publicly for the first time. Like, is something going to go right? Is something going to go wrong? What if it bugs out? But we're really, really happy to say that the vast majority of the feedback has been helpful instead of critical. People seem to really jive with the concept, like, as it is right now, and they just want to see more of it, which is, I mean, that's the greatest problem to have in the world, right? Like, we're so excited to get more of it in there for people, but the criticism we have gotten, we've been rapidly implementing. Like, we've made a lot of control scheme changes for players, and we found that as we've made those changes, people have really, really liked the demo more and more as we've made those updates.
Awesome. So what is your development roadmap looking like?
Yeah, absolutely. So Crystalmancers, right now we're targeting March 2027 as a release date. That depends on whether or not a certain AAA game comes out that month. It might get delayed again. I'm sure you know which one I'm talking about. But yeah, hopefully March 2027. We spent the last year really building out the logic engine and making sure that was pretty tight. And now it used to take us a full week to implement a new feature, and now it takes 1 to 2 days, and so it's scaled up really well.
So how can people follow along with the development of Crystalmancers?
So if you go ahead and you search Crystalmancers, all one word, on Google or Steam, you should find our Steam page. If you'd like to be directly involved in the development of the game, we do post free builds of the game. We try to do it monthly on our Discord server, which is linked on the Steam page. If you join that, we'd be happy to have you as a part of the community, and we really, really listen to fan feedback. A lot of the suggestions that we've gotten are of what have made the game what it is today. And so we'd love to have more people involved with the project.
Okay, great. It's one of my games to show. I'm so happy I played it. I'm so happy you had a successful PAX.
Thank you.
We're almost there.
We're almost there.
You can get some sleep soon.
Yeah, I know.
All right, thanks for your time.
Thank you so much.
So that was Jack Perkins talking about Crystalmancers, giving you the lowdown on what the game is. Yes, it's like a block-busting kind of puzzle game that's a roguelike that resembles Tetris very much. If you like Tetris, then you will like this kind of offshoot of Tetris, where you are taking your blocks and you are customizing them to kind of suit how you like to play. Basically, you're up against an enemy. You are trying to clear lines to do damage to the enemy, and then every now and then the enemy will kind of throw an attack at you. It could be like a line of blocks. It could be a special like alteration on the blocks that you were about to play, where now you have to kind of adjust your strategy. You have shops in between where you can engrave your stones with different things. You can add blocks to them. You can subtract blocks from them and kind of change your Tetris blocks as you see fit. And yeah, that is Crystalmancers. It's a blast. If I could, I would play it right tonight. I would download it right now and I would play it tonight. But
leave this episode as we're recording.
Yeah,
and be like,
or I'll just be like, yeah, I'm listening.
out.
And I'm like, block, clear, block.
Yeah, sorry, y'all. It just updated on Steam. I gotta go.
Yeah, exactly. Bye. You can get the latest demo, as Jack said, on their Discord. They are updating the demo every time they have a newest version, and you can give your input on the game there. I highly recommend everybody check it out. And also, Jack was lovely and was wonderful at showing off his game. It's like a 5-person team. It's I was really impressed. I basically funneled everyone there. I was like, everyone go play Crystalmancers.
He was super receptive to like feedback on the fly too. Like he was making edits between days of the show to make.
Yeah,
wasn't there a switch with the mouse?
He changed the button
there?
the inputs, because it was left and right click would turn the block in opposite directions, and then you would hit space to drop it. But that didn't feel right because there's no time limit. Like it's not a timed challenge like Tetris would be. Whereas in that instance, you would want to be able to quickly switch it one direction or the other direction. It's like, no, I just need to switch in one direction. So you switch it to the right click, flips it, left click drops it. I'm like, yes, that's better. It's also like, I think seeing like, oh, this is possibly a great mobile game. Like I would love to play this on mobile.
Right.
One day, maybe. Let's get our Steam launch first and get a following. Yeah. But I'm really excited about it.
I hope I don't say anything that came up organically in the interview, but when I was conversing with Jack about this fantastic game, which I do just want to flag, competes for my number one spot at the show. Like Crystalmancers was fantastic. I can't emphasize Katie's pick enough. I was sort of thinking like it's Tetris mixed with something else. And one of the comparisons that a lot of people kept making, and including Jack himself, mentioned Balatro. And I see the comparison because there's already this sort of visual language for a game like this, in the same way that you sort of like, even if you don't really play poker, you sort of know how to like operate through Balatro and what a full house is and what a straight is and things like that. The same thing is true here with the visual language of Tetris, but by reducing and removing elements such as, like Katie mentioned, like the timer, it gives you a different way to engage. And even another boss prompt that I think is interesting to introduce here is there was one element that I really loved where certain boss attacks, if you right click to change the orientation of your piece, let's say you have like a 4-block top down, like a line, you turn it to the right, like you're going to use it horizontally instead of vertically. Well, it actually just removed one of the blocks out of your 4-piece. Now you have 3 pieces. And it'll do that 1 or 2 times before you actually place your block if you keep right clicking. And so there's these really clever, ingenuitive ways of making something that feels very familiar and very intuitive feel very fresh. I had so much fun with this game, and I can't wait to actually see what the early access build looks like sometime around like March next year, as what was estimated.
Yeah. It sounded like they're really looking to build in a lot of like deck building aspects and a lot of way to customize the game to your liking. So Crystalmancers coming out in early access sometime in around a year.
Sweet. All right. So we'll give Flora the floor for her first game that she wants to talk about. Flora.
So, Crystalmancers aside, like the other game that I was swooning over was Canvas City. And Canvas City is, I'm just going to read from the little like bio description here. It's a turn-based tactics RPG of Rebellion on roller skates. Hell of a pitch. Basically, a verbal description. I've not played Jet Set Radio, but a lot of people recommended this to me through word of mouth. It was at the PAX Rising section, which is typically like indie games that are kind of getting popular in some manner. And what you do is basically tactics gameplay. You're moving through a grid-based layout of a pre-designed map, and each unit in your team has different abilities, different strengths, different weaknesses, and you have to graffiti tag, hence the Jet Set Radio comparison, with your roller skates. These various like billboards hanging out throughout the levels, and then also manage to do damage and attack and heal your own teammates over the course of this battle, where you will basically win the territory of the map that you're playing. The demo only featured a tutorial, a level, and a boss battle, so it's not super extensive, but I played a solid hour of this, and I talked to the two people who were sort of like holding down the booth on the PAX floor. One of them was incredibly enthusiastic, someone who was working on the game, who's like, this is based out of New Zealand, it's the same team, but like a different half of the team that worked on the game Dredge, if any listeners have played with that. But then I also talked to one of the exhibitionists of the or exhibitors, that's the probably better word, of the booth, who was dressed up as one of the characters in this like strawberry like Nurse Joy outfit, for lack of a better term. They were both so sweet and so accommodating, and I ended up speaking with them, as with Crystalmancers, for like half an hour after I finished the demo. Even though I had like places to be and games to keep playing and places on the show floor to go, I was so enraptured with this game off of one main level and one boss battle plus a tutorial that I cannot wait. I'm absolutely day oneing this. It's so interesting if you like tactics games. I know that Left Behind Game Club, we've covered things like Into the Breach. It taps into that, but it also, as mentioned, taps into that sort of Jet Set Radio aesthetic, and that combination, in my opinion, works incredibly well.
100%. I kind of toyed with this one as a game that I would have talked about too. Once someone said like, "Oh, it's Jet Set Radio meets XCOM," is how it was described to me.
Yeah,
but
that keeps coming up.
But the I think what I liked the most about it, to keep it brief, was it's a lot of the positioning and using the elements in the map. So the ramps, the rails, the drops that you can do to keep your momentum going. So if you can get yourself, let's say you can move, I don't know, 4 spaces. If you can reach a ramp, you get an additional maybe like 2 or 3 movement spots, so you can kind of cross the board a lot farther. So you're rewarded for reaching different areas of the map to move around. There's also like a system where you're fighting against an opposite team, and so you're obviously like fighting them, but if you're tagging more areas, you get more action points for your team. So kind of if you're controlling the map more, the team that you're fighting has less turns. And so it's this back and forth of trying to control the map, and also fight the enemies where, I don't know, you're spray painting them in the face, but it's but it was a lot of fun. It, like you said, it does tap into like an Into the Breach, Tactical Breach Wizards. It's doing stuff like that where it's positioning and movement as opposed to just outright luck. There's no luck chance. Something that I kind of shy away from when it comes to tactics games like XCOM. It's more, this is going to attack. You just need to get yourself into the right position to make it happen. So I really like this. I played it on the Steam Deck there. I only did the battle, not the boss fight, but I really enjoyed it. And I'm really excited for when this comes out. Honestly, I think it's just to be announced. I don't think they have a date set so far. So really excited for that game. So next, Alex, talk to us about Replaced.
Okay, so yeah, Replaced. This is one of those games that, off the top, I didn't really even know was on the floor I think I didn't find it until about the third day or so. And I think it was on your recommendation. You said, hey, check out this game. It's got a really cool style. So we're wandering around and walked by the booth. And this ended up being, I think, my favorite of the show. So Replaced is by Sad Cat Studios. It is, I'll read the little snippet here from Steam before I get going here. You expose the sinister secrets of the Phoenix Corporation as Reach, an AI trapped in a human body. It's set in alternate 1980s America, scarred by nuclear catastrophe. Navigate a cyberpunk thriller and a narrative-driven 2.5D platformer, blending cinematic exploration with fluid, free-flow action. And I gotta say, this game is not a style game I would normally play, but when I picked it up and the second I saw it, it had these striking, beautiful rendered backgrounds with this kind of gritty pixel art style attached to it. And it had this great lighting and it just instantly had me hooked. It kind of looked like almost like a comic book kind of style. And you're playing in this demo and you're being chased by this like rail car that has a light on it, and it has some of those nice elements like in Limbo where you're kind of hiding from light and you're trying to make sure you aren't seen, because if you're going to get killed. And you're walking side to side and you're using the environment to kind of navigate around. And then you get into these action scenes where it does that free flow fighting style like popularized by like Arkham games. And you kind of get to beat them up, and you get to do the counters and go back and forth, and it kind of feels really good. Go ahead, Flora.
I think that this was another standout for me. It didn't make it into my top 2 necessarily, but I played this on day 1, and it was maybe one of the best games I played of day 1 on the PAX show floor. I agree with everything you just said, Alex, as far as characterizing this game. I also want to sort of like emphasize that this feels a little bit like the game Inside, if anyone's played that. There's something kind of like creepy 2D, like noir about it, but the graphics are not necessarily like as stylized and indie feeling. They're a lot more realistic, even though they're still like 2.5D, like almost pixel art aesthetic. It really evoked that energy for me throughout the playthrough. It was creepy as hell, hence the Inside comparison. But it was also incredibly well made, and I had a great time with this demo. So I'm glad you picked this one out.
Yeah, I liked it too. Like, it's just, the combat feels really good. It's got that smooth, like, attack, counter when, like Arkham, when it flashes up that your enemy's going to an attack, or that they're doing an unblockable attack and you've got to dodge out of the way. I don't know that I've ever seen anything that is very much pixel art, but also felt like I had the word. So like aesthetically precise, like the lights and the reflections and the shadows and everything were so on point and beautiful. Like it felt like I was watching like a higher resolution than I was. Like they give that impression, and the smoothness of the animation plays into that too. Like it's beautiful.
Yeah, just to build on what Katie just said, like it feels almost cinematic in some ways, even though it's like clearly hand-drawn pixel by pixel, which is a real like testament to the quality of art and the attention to detail, and even just the frame pacing of the animation. Like it's incredibly well done from a visual standpoint.
Yeah.
Even if you don't necessarily care about the narrative. I didn't get a great sense of the narrative from the demo per se, but I was definitely invested.
Higher visual fidelity than what it is. That's what I was looking for.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I actually went back afterwards and I was checking out the page and watched some, what are they called? Some like trailer stuff. And they have some like really cool looking set pieces, like coming where like you're on a train fighting and other stuff like that, and there's some puzzle elements inside of the trailer that I didn't see on the demo floor that looks like it's going to be interesting. And one of the coolest things I thought about the way they did the visual style of that game is while you're walking side to side, there's this weird kind of like panning, tilting shift camera thing that does that kind of shows off the 3D element that's super subtle, and you don't really notice it until it like did it just in the perfect way so you can see the next little section of the environment and how you're supposed to navigate it. I thought that was really subtle.
Camera swoops around. It's really nice.
Yep. So Replaced comes out on April 14th, I believe.
Very soon.
Yeah, just coming up in a couple of weeks here. So make sure you go check it out.
Yeah, it's so soon. I didn't realize I had heard about this game for a bit. I think it got delayed quite a bit out of last year. But I didn't know it was coming out like literally within a couple weeks. So anyone can go and kind of play that like imminently. All right. So now that we've gone all the way around, all four of us, I'll go and talk about my next game. Inkblood. This was something that I didn't even know was going to be here. I always love checking out the Critical Reflex booth because they just have a lot of games that just kind of vibe with this kind of stuff that I like. And they had setups where you could just kind of go on any of their booths and select any of the games that they have. Some demos that were games that have already come out, but Inkblood was one that I had never even heard before. Essentially, it's a little hard to describe. It's a puzzle game. It's almost like a hidden object game at times. Essentially, you're playing as an inquisitor that's following a bunch of murders. I seem to have a murder theme going on here. I don't know what's going on. I'm investigating murders at all times of my life. So there's a cult at work, and you're trying to figure out who committed what murder. And correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like Oberdin, something like this, like Return of the Oberdin. Is that like where you're kind of placing in like, okay, the culprit is X, where you're placing the pieces, like who did what? What game does that? Is that
can't
Golden
say
Idol?
Yes or no. I've never actually played Oberdin.
I know
that it
neither.
uses time a lot more. Like I think it's more intricate puzzles, but yeah, there is something like that does that. I can't recall what it is.
Yeah, I can't recall exactly which one it is because I've never played either of them either. But essentially, what you're doing is you're kind of in a little carriage cart, and you get a little like tableau in front of you. You're looking out your window, and here's a murder. There's a dead body on the ground, and you have a little lens that you can kind of use to peer around the environment, move from side to side in your window, and it gives you like a flashback into the past. And you're kind of seeing like, okay, here's the dead body, and maybe you can kind of use your lens to kind of follow the trail of where they were to find out who was the culprit. And sometimes you might find items in the environment. So let's say in the demo that I played, there was kind of like a band, someone playing the drums, someone playing like the flute, and someone playing the accordion. And so you found those items in the environment, so you got to bring them into your carriage and investigate them as well. So in my demo, I opened up, it's kind of just like your hand kind of floating around on the screen, and you tap the drum and unscrew the top, and you see inside that the drummer was, spoilers, was the hitman sent to kill one of the other ones, because you find the note and you find an image of who he's trying to kill. So you figured out, okay, who the murderer is. And so to progress, you have to then fill out a grid of, okay, who was the culprit, who is the murderer, who is currently hiding, and where
Clue.
Are they hiding?
So it's Clue.
A little bit, yeah. Like
it's Mr. Mustard with the candlestick.
Kind of, yeah.
Would be Colonel Mustard.
How
to
did
you.
they die? Where's their body? Like you have to answer all the questions, and you kind of call a phone number to confirm whether or not you're right or wrong. I really liked the style of this game. It's kind of got there's a strange aesthetic. It's unsettling, but at the same time, the game felt very chill. I could see myself playing this, like just kind of relaxed, sit back at the end of the night and just solve my little puzzles, solve my little murders. You know what I mean? Like, this all I want to do is be cozy and solve murders, I guess.
Yeah,
but like, but like it felt very chill and relaxing, especially on a busy show floor. It was a really nice kind of like break from all the really big action games that I was playing. So yeah, I really liked this, and it kind of snuck up on me, and I'd be totally down to play it when it comes out. It is like set to release in 2026. I don't know. Did anyone else touch this one? I think Alex did, right?
Yeah, I played it too. I agree. It was so weird after playing like a bunch of like Metroidvanias and a bunch of like action games and stuff like that on the floor. Sit down, just like self-paced. You just do your own thing, solve some murders, relaxing things like most people like to do on a.
There's no rush to solve the murders.
No, it's. Yeah,
they already happened.
Yeah, the element was cool. There's like a thing where you like, you can use that like circular kind of magnifying glass to like reveal what was going on. And then you have to take the pictures of the scenes to say who did it.
Yes.
So you have to not only you have to prove that you found the clues that
you have to show your work.
You have to show your work. You can't just say, "Oh, I think it was this person." No, you have to show that you know the answer, not just think you know the answer.
It's actually kind of smart.
That's to hold up in court.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I can't just say I saw the body. It's like here's the picture of the body.
That's not how prosecution works.
And you can layer it so you have like that. So you have the magnifying glass that shows the past, and then you can take a picture of the past to show the person doing the action.
Yeah, it was cool. I really liked it. So I look out for that sometime later this year, hopefully. So we're gonna keep moving on. Katie, talk to us about Memoria Wake.
Memoria Wake is my other game.
Video
that
game
I've selected.
name. That is I don't know. I have no idea what this is. I think a couple of you played it, and I'm like, that's a name of a video game.
It doesn't indicate a ton just from the name. No. Yeah, Inkblood. You're like, all right, it's going to be a little dark, at least, most likely. Memoria Wake, though. So it is a kind of top-down isometric action adventure game, kind of like Death's Door is kind of my best comparison, where you are moving through the environment and you are defeating enemies. There are bosses that are like very challenging bosses. I think their intention is to make it kind of closer to like Souls-like as far as difficulty level than anything simple, kind of like Death's Door actually. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It traverses an environment that is set up based on your memories. So Memoria Wake. So like the first area.
I guess it makes sense. Oops.
I guess, sure. Yeah, you're traversing this environment. The first one is based on kind of your memories of like childhood. There are kind of blocks, like letter blocks sitting around. There is a like stuffed bear whose leg is messed up, and he's like, help me. So also, which makes me think there are most likely side quests that you can accomplish, kind of like optional things, because I don't think you needed to get the bear's leg back. I'm not sure, because at some point I was like, I need to fight a boss. I need to see what your bosses are like. And I hopped out, and then you could kind of pick which area you wanted to play. So I went ahead to the second area, which is based on like your school years. So I think it's very much test stress and like clocks, and the boss in that area is an advisor, and who's like, I told you're never gonna be good at anything, basically, and is like, screw you, I'm gonna beat you finally. And it's like, you still won't be happy, you still won't know what you want to do with your life. And I'm like, geez, like we digging into some I'm like, yeah, these are all things that most people can relate to, being lost in your life at one point or another. But yeah, the action was great. Like the gameplay was very smooth. As a parry mechanic that I liked a lot. I dodged a bit, but I think Alex also played this. And I think you'd like dodged the whole game instead of parrying the whole game.
Yeah, I guess it was a little bit of like the Souls-like kind of coming out where I didn't want to use the parry action too much. Yeah. So, but I was bad at the parry on it, so I just was fighting this. I continued in that school area, and I fought one of those clapping monkeys with cymbals, and that was like the boss.
Oh, okay.
There was like a boss in that area, and all I did was perfect dodges basically off of it, and you get like a timed kind of counterattack thing when you do a perfect dodge that you can like, and it felt really good because you got into a rhythm with it. It felt smooth.
I don't know if that cymbal monkey was actually in the first level or if there are returning cymbal monkeys, because I fought a cymbal monkey in the first level. So I'm like, oh, is this like a returning thing? Is it like the mimes in Clear Obscure, like variations of the clapping monkey? I don't know. But yes, I also fought that clopping monkey, and he was cute and fun to fight.
I was awakened by the mention of Claire Obscure. What happened?
I was like, what? Where?
What?
Where's the mime? So yeah, that's by Team Crescendo, also published by Team Crescendo. It's also like a younger team who hasn't made many games in the past, so I think they're doing a great job. And same thing, they're taking critiques from people. They're being very receptive. They're like, we're continually working on this. We want the dodge to feel a little better. They're making little minor tweaks. I'm expecting it to be like very polished, like a very good polished game. So if you like a game like Death's Door or something like that, then maybe you should check it out.
Nice. Awesome. All right. Flora, do you want to talk about your final game here?
I do, but I first want to just articulate that I'm a little offended that no one recommended our previous game, Memoria Wake, to me, because this seems like something I probably would have enjoyed.
I'm sorry, I failed you.
Everyone has failed me, apparently. But
Jacob most especially, right? Yes.
It sounds so up my alley in so many ways, but I'll leave that there. And y'all were speculating about the title, like how it may or may not evoke a sort of depressive tone. And I'm like, Memoria, not exactly a great start for positive associations. Mm-hmm. But then Wake, are you kidding me? Yep. Like the thing that like people do like when they're dead, like a wake, like a showing of a dead body. I don't know. But anyway, my other game of the show, I picked out Ghost Eater. And I could have easily picked out Crystalmancers, which we've spoken about. Fantastic game here. But a highlight of my show for sure was on my final day of the show floor, where I had like taken a photograph of this game, like walking by the booth, and told myself, that looks like something I would enjoy. It sort of has the visual aesthetic, animation-wise, as something like a Platinum game would have, whether that's a Bayonetta, a Astral Chain, or a Nier game. Very fast-paced, lightning sort of combat, a lot of movement emphasis, and these battles that your character engages in within the demo alone are rather intense. So the Steam description here is just a hack and slash action adventure game with manga inspired graphics. It definitely has a unique aesthetic which pulled me in. It's black and white. It's animated in many cases what looks like by hand, certain like anime aesthetics, manga aesthetics. So again, there's no color in the game. It's completely black and white, but that serves it well in terms of communicating the visual language you need as a player to dodge things, avoid certain things like bombs or projectiles or whatever sort of attack you're facing. And as it also mentions in the Steam description, there's a branching story. We don't really see a lot of that in the demo, obviously, I guess, but there are still plenty of moments of dialogue in which you sort of like indicate things that have obvious consequences. On the show floor, I don't know who all here played this game, but there were certain dialogue options that said, no, I'm on the PAX East floor. Of course I don't want to take this tutorial. Just let me face the boss. And like, I'm not used to seeing those little like winks and nods from the developers. It was kind of funny to be like, all right, no, but every single time I ignored those PAX East prompts. I was like, no, give me the long route through this game because I was having so much fun. You end up doing a boss battle, which is incredibly hard, and I died twice, and the developer came and like patted me on the shoulder when I finished it, because most people give up before they actually beat the boss, at least in their experience this year. But I am so ready. It feels, again, just to evoke this, it feels like something that's tapping into like the Bayonetta Nier sort of aesthetic. And if you like those sort of games, it feels like a smaller, more condensed version of something that's going to be very high paced. You probably want to put on your compression gloves so you don't activate like the muscle tension in your hands. Very, very high paced game. Very fun.
Yeah, this was this was interesting. This was like me and Alex were just kind of roaming around. Like it was for day one, we were just roaming around exploring the floor. And this was probably one of the first games that both of us, I think, played. We like when I walked up to it, all it was just one big monitor, and the black and white aesthetic was so striking. It was so stylish. It immediately, like, I don't know if anyone ever played this game, but Mad World on the Wii honestly, I'd have to take a look and see. Don't quote me on it, but maybe it's kind of a hack and slash beat 'em up. No, it's like a hack and slash kind of game, but it might have been like a platinum. I don't know. Platinum game. I don't know. But either way, that game was all black and white with like splotches of red when there was blood and stuff like that. But that was the thing that immediately drew me in. I was like, oh, I haven't seen a game that does this black and white action aesthetic in the same way that Mad World does. And then you look at it and how it's playing. I'm like, oh, this is No More Heroes. Like, that's a beam katana that you're using, and there's a battery in it. So, and it just was very much like evoking both. It's funny because, like, at that point in time for the Wii, I was definitely like, I had a Wii, but I'm like, oh, I'm a real gamer, and I want the adult like Wii games. And at the time, it was Mad World and No More Heroes, which were like the games for adults, as opposed to like the games for your grandma to play in the nursing home. Like, so I was like, oh, this like melding of the two adult Wii games that I remember from like 20 years ago. But then you play it. It was fun. It was fast paced. I'd love to see like what kind of different combos I kind of hope there's more combos, because it could be repetitive with like the button mashing the same kind of repeat combos. But I really enjoyed it. I thought the writing was really funny. You do a lot of hacking into like devices. And when you hack into the device, it kind of opens up like a virtual reality where then you're having to fight like viruses and stuff to like, I think you had to turn on like an espresso machine. Like it was funny. I really enjoyed it. Like you said, with the comments about like, I'm doing the PAX demo, I don't care about this, and move on. So yeah, the writing seemed fun and snappy, and it's just there wasn't much to the booth, but I was like really impressed by that game when I first.
I just want to evoke the Nier comparisons. Like even the hacking mini game reminds me of those who have played Nier Automata Route B. Like it felt like it was channeling those things, and I thought that was so interesting. But yes, a lot of what you're doing is relatively mundane, and yet it works in the greater service of the narrative that's being evoked, which is a lot more like sci-fi heavy. So I'm incredibly curious to see what the final result looks like. There's not really a big target of release. I did try to pry and get some answers on this one, but even on Steam, it just says to be announced.
I thought the combat was felt, I guess, less like No More Heroes, more like a Devil May Cry, because it had the shooting element with it, and the high pace, and kind of actually the art style with it, if you drained all the color out of it. So it was kind of leaning, I felt a little bit more that way than No More Heroes, but definitely the way they ran around with, like I said, the bat kind of hanging off to the side, definitely had like a lot of the same elements though.
Yeah, it's like it's almost wearing all of its inspirations on its sleeve. Like even narratively, it's like Ghost in a Shell. Like you're like an android being brought back. Like there's the manga. It's all of its inspirations are there, but it still worked. None of it felt it felt iterative rather than like derivative. If I got those two words, I think that the right way around.
That is a fantastic way to talk about it. Actually, like what's the difference between iteration and derivation? Like iteration is just you're taking the same thing, copy pasting it, and then like tweaking, like adding a mustache to the character. Like that's the extent of your change. And then derivation is like I'm taking conceptual inspiration from something, but it doesn't mean it's going to look 1-to-1. It doesn't mean the art style is going to be the same. It doesn't mean the conceptual like themes are going to be the same. But you can see the lineage of the original work and where I arrived at with my own work. So yes, I agree with your distinction. I think it's actually a very clever one that I wasn't thinking about. I think those two words actually define how this feels distinct and unique, as opposed to just a carbon copy of something that we've seen before with, as I mentioned, Platinum Games.
Exactly. Sweet. So our last game that we're going to talk about is Alex's Well Dweller.
Yeah, so Well Dweller is a dark fairy tale Metroidvania. It's full of charming characters living in a wretched kingdom. You play as a tiny bird armed with a matchstick named Glimmer, who must burn the wicked queen to save his family. So this game is made by Kyle Thompson, and I guess he's the same person who made like Islets and some of these other Metroidvanias that have really like sharp animation style, and I guess they kind of stand out and kind of have like that similar artistic vision. So this game was really, really fun. It had really like smooth like fighting mechanics. Kind of reminded me of like that Hollow Knight kind of feel where you're running around except you're using a matchstick instead of like a nail. And I thought it was really interesting that your health was your matchstick, your weapon. So you can kind of get a quick visual as you're running around, as you're taking damage. Your matchstick starts going out, and then you can reignite it with oil by healing. And there's this cool mechanic where whenever you heal, it's actually like a timed event. You have to strike your match at the right time to get the light again. And I found it kind of interesting because I didn't kind of pick it up at first, but there's like a little bit of like a horror vibe to this game too. The art style is like kind of off. It's got the uncanny valley. There's a boss inside of this that's like a spider, but it has like human teeth and eyes. And it's just really creepy. It felt very good to play though. And there's the slide feature had this nice like invincibility iframes to it that made it didn't feel cheap. I think some of the other people in here played. I think Katie, you ended up finishing the boss for me actually on my playthrough.
I had to. I was looking at it and I'm like, that looks like it feels. No. I had to. It looked like it felt so good to play.
I thought you meant I had to, as in like Alex couldn't do it. I had to beat the boss for him.
I mean, that's kind of what happened, but just saying. But anyway, I more cracks that you'd have gotten it. You were right there.
I have to interrupt
so
only to say I'm arachnophobic as hell, and so this is the most uncomfortable thing I've ever heard, to imagine spiders with human teeth. I would also need Katie to say.
And it was gardening too, though.
It was almost like a big crab, like that had like knife. It was like holding like, was it knives or scissors or something that was like kind of stabbing to the ground.
It was gardening
while it was moving around.
shears.
Are they gardening?
Yeah,
shears.
It was gardening shears.
Because
you're right.
It was all like flower oriented. It was a garden thing.
But no, it looked like it played so well that and then I was watching. I basically got to watch the entire moveset of the boss, and I'm like, let me at it. I'm gonna do this. It felt as good as I thought it was going to, including the heal mechanic, that match strike. It feels. It just felt good when you hit it. You're like, yes, I hit it right on. And then you get that match flare, that like visual indicator that feels good. And also I just think the hitboxes were perfect. Like I never hit anything that I thought, really, that hit me? Like every time I hit something, I was like, yeah, that was exactly right. Like the hitboxes are perfect. The animation's really good. The boss kind of gave me, and you were saying it's kind of disturbing looking. It makes me think of, it might be an Undertale spoiler, but there's a something.
Oh, you're right.
Earmuffs, 30 seconds.
That gives me that. I'll end it there. There's some, if people have played Undertale, they kind of know what I mean. Yep. Where it's almost like cut together, almost like a ransom note. Like it's like you got a little bit of this pasted onto this, and then it the whole thing's a little off-putting, but it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Loved it. That's another one. I'm like, I would play this today. If you hadn't put it on your list, I would have.
Yeah, and I checked the trailers afterwards as well, and it seems like the theme of like that anthropomorphic horror where you put human elements onto other creatures seems to be a
tell
theme.
Me, what else is there?
Well,
what else? Can you think of one?
I saw like this like white looking creature that had like little faces almost like repeating all over its body. And then like it was just super weird art, and it looked really definitely captures the imagination, I gotta say.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So that was all of the games that we wanted to talk about the most. Does anyone have any honorable mentions that they want to bring up? Anything that they we don't have to go too far in depth, but anything that you're like, oh, I really liked this, just want to quick shout it out?
I've got one.
Okay, I'm gonna let Katie go first.
Okay, I'll get my one done because I think we're gonna cover a few other things. I played Escape from Duckov, and I really liked it. It's just it's a little extraction, like top-down twin stick shooter where you're picking up new equipment, like different guns, different body armor. You're picking up like crafting items to kind of advance. Like, oh, I gotta fix that bridge. On your route, you need to pick up enough material to do that. You can upgrade your base. You have to be careful with like while you're approaching the environments. It played really well. It's kind of a fun time. I would play it. I'm gonna check it out when it comes out.
Nice. Flora.
I have a few things to shout out. There's one that I really want to highlight, but just to kind of like recap as briefly as possible. The first thing we played as a group was on day one. We went to the media hour at PAX and went to play the Double Fine game Kiln. That didn't really make an impression on me, and I'm curious to see how once it actually kind of gets locked in and like works, because we had like internet connectivity issues and like stuff like that. Like I'd be interested to give that a second chance. So I just wanted to flag that as something that we all sort of have some experience with. Alpine Trainer was another one of those that I wanted to flag, where it's built around not necessarily a game, but rather a peripheral. This conference had a sort of theme around a lot of peripherals. There was like this advanced customization Guitar Hero controller that you could like play and demo. There was this snowboard peripheral. There was this like automotive peripheral with like 3 screens and multiple gas pedals, brakes, whatever. A lot of things like that. But Alpine Trainer was like an SSX Tricky, but without like the style. I know. I took all the excitement away really quickly. You're standing on a snowboard and like moving the snowboard back and forth, and the guy got so impatient with me because I was doing so terribly that he put his foot down on the snowboard and was like, "Here's how you do it."
Wow, the driver Z'd you.
Honestly, I don't think I've felt that much backseat driving since then. There's a couple other like fun highlights I want to just briefly thing before I like land on my core honorable mention. There was The Secret of Crystal Mountain, a PAX of Rising game, where basically it was like very Zelda, very Tunic. I don't know what better example to compare it to, but it was incredibly polished, really cute, really succinct as a demo. I would love to see what it looks like. I'm worried a little bit that it's going to remind me of that game that I said was my game of the show a couple years ago, which was that like Dark Souls-like that ended up being really shallow. And I can't even remember the name of it right now.
It was like a fire and ice kind of looking thing.
Yep. There were like there was a whole parry system in that game, and I can't even think of what it's called.
I can't remember what it was, but I know which one you're talking about. Yes.
But maybe we'll throw it in the show notes if I can bring it. There was another one that was like an honorable mention, like Super Blowfish Castle, another PAX Rising game. It felt very much like Fall Guys meets Bennett Foddy, like anything Bennett Foddy. So like impossible mechanics, but it looked like Fall Guys. But I digress. The thing that I want to really hone in on as a final thing. Oh no, one more honorable mention. I lied. Is Avatar. There was a webcam based thing from New Playground, which is a company where the webcam like tracks your body in like a unique way. It's not a standard webcam, but it's intended to be used for like different sorts of software. This game, they had a demo where you could fight Toph from Avatar: The Last Airbender, which is the blind earthbender. And so you could like
by this.
You could stomp your left foot and punch with your right hand and send a giant rock her way, or you could just kind of repeatedly punch up in the air like you're sitting there like trying to like shake up a bunch of beer bottles or whatever, and send her little tiny rocks. You could clap your hands like you're in prayer and then raise them up above your head, and that would raise a wall to defend yourself. There were all these different little moves. I played it. I'm the only one in line that I saw who lost.
Oh no.
Everyone else won, but they still gave me a pity poster. So anyway, the game I want to highlight is my final honorable mention. Sorry for the multiple rambles, but there were some really cool things this year. Was Heartlinks, a puzzle called Love. This game looks like Doki Doki Literature Club. It even has the same font-ish as far as the game goes. Like, if you were to aesthetically look at it, you would probably think it's a Doki Doki, like, ripoff. It is not. It's actually closer in a lot of ways stylistically to, like, a Danganronpa, if you've played that, where it has this sort of 2D, 3D blend of aesthetic. And the discussion I had with the developers when we were, like, after my demo had concluded involved comparisons to Baba Is You, which I would not have seen. It also, like, in terms of what you do, there's, for example, keys in these, like, out-of-reach areas that your character clearly cannot get to, but then you pick up these special items like envelopes, winged keys, etc., and they allow you to either, like, stop or start the physical motion of objects, and so it becomes this, like, physics simulator / visual novel where you work through a traditional Japanese high school in order to find your crush. And my God, I had so much fun. And at the booth, they had little, like, stickers for, like, your PAX badge that said, like, this is not a JoJo reference. And if anyone has ever seen JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, you will understand why that's funny. But to see that just unironically at a video game booth was incredible. And I can't wait to give the full game a shot when it comes out.
Nice. Anyone else have any final shout-outs they want to do? Alex, do you have anything?
I played a game called De Solis. It was like a it was like this, like, it had this it was like a vector puzzle game with kind of like Portal, I guess, is the best kind of way to kind of match it up. First person, you're walking around and it plays with like a night and day instead of like a Portal option with the blue and orange. And you and when you walk through the portal, like, the environment has been broken and you can shift items between the two, like, the night and dark versions of those areas to kind of navigate your way through the different puzzles and get your up. In the demo, you're walking up like a big staircase heading up maybe a mountainside or something, or like up towards like maybe a temple. And it's very beautiful. I like the animation's really pretty. Like the way there's like these crystals that when you approach them and open them up, there's like this nice visual effect and they open up, and it seems like it's definitely going somewhere. I'm going to definitely be keeping an eye on that one. And then the other one I wanted to call out was Gnaw. That was over in the PAX Rising. It's another Metroidvania, but it was more of a cartoon style graphics to it, and you're playing as like a little dinosaur, and it has all these like little silly elements where they're trying to, you can kind of see in the background art of the thing that there's, it looks like the comet's coming in that's going to destroy dinosaurs, and they're not really sure what's going on, and they're all just kind of living their dinosaur lives in this weird kind of grungy city with like, you're fighting like rats and all these weird stuff. Like kind of, it's just, like it's
trash
really,
panda raccoons.
Exactly. It's really, there's all these little subtle jokes they kept saying, and definitely one I want to, and it just felt good to play too. Definitely one to keep an eye on.
Nice. Kate, do you have anything else you wanted to touch on?
Well, I think Travis, didn't you want to mention, was it Unholy Roller?
I did want to mention Unholy Roller. I was going to say it if no one else had, but this was a random, it might have been, because sometimes there's booths that have like universities that they're doing like their student games and stuff. This might have been in the realm of those university games. I don't know for sure. But Unholy Roller was like this dungeon crawler where you're a bowling ball going around and like flinging yourself at bowling pins. But the bowling pins have like big fists and they're punching back at you, and it's doing this physics thing where you're flicking like pulling back on the control stick to kind of aim at the direction that you want to go, and it does this really good, like it felt really good slowdown where if you're moving in a direction and you pull back on the control stick and you aim, and it's everything slows down and you pick your direction and you redirect your positioning. And essentially you're just trying to clear like screens and get through areas and kind of get a high score. And I think the one one of the first runs I did was like an S tier, and I was like, oh, S tier. And then the last one I did was like a B tier, and I
quickly humbled.
Great. And because they're bowling pins, like you get to smash them around into each other and kind of like,
yes.
And there's like bonuses for smashing things into other things.
Like multipliers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You're trying to keep going so you get a higher score. So it was really fun. I think it'd be really fun on mobile if ever that becomes a thing, because you're just like flicking the little bowling ball and you're rolling around. And I don't remember if there was there like skill point? I don't remember if it was just like score your points, or if there was like,
I think there was a multiplier if
bonuses?
you like didn't get
hit,
like
bonuses,
hit things consecutively. I have news for you.
What?
It is the like pre-release version of this game is on itch.io.
Oh,
you could download it right now.
I'm going to do that. Well, we're ending this episode right now, so I can go do that. Sorry, Crystalmancers. Yeah, no.
It's one of those games that looks so simple, and you're like, sure, why not? And then you start, and within like 3 seconds, you're like, oh, this feels good. This is built, so like perfectly to like kind of hit all these kind of pleasure points where you're like slowing when you go to like you said, to throw your bowling ball in a different direction. It just kind of slows down just the right amount, and it gives you a bit of control, and it just, everything looks and feels really good.
Yeah, it was sweet. And I think the only other one that I really I just wanted to quickly shout out was Fading Echo, which I thought was really cool. It was kind of just this action adventure kind of game where it's got a really cool art style. You get to turn into like a ball of water and kind of solve puzzles in the environment. It had really, really great voice acting. It was, I think Alex had played it and then like recommended me and Katie go check it out. And then I was like, okay, sure. And I was like impressed with how polished it was. I was like, oh, this like feels well done. It felt like a game that would have come out, like, you could have told me this came out on like the GameCube, PS2 era kind of style, and it would have fit like that kind of gameplay. I'm thinking like Beyond Good and Evil, or you know what I mean, like something in that vein where you're just kind of hack and slashing, attacking stuff, but then there's environmental puzzles where you're using your ball of water to spring yourself up into areas, or if you're in a ball of water form, you go over lava and you turn into a steam ball to traverse like to get a farther jump. So it was cool. There was this tiny little booth like kind of behind like the ginormous Nintendo booth, I really like that. So I just wanted to call that out too. So does anyone have any other games they want to shout out?
Oh, after you mentioned Unholy Rollers, the other one I really enjoyed and was over in the Games by Poland section there. It was trying to remember what it was called.
Is it the sword one?
The Lone Sword.
The Lone Sword.
Yes.
Yeah, so that was like, again, it's like another like kind of like physics action game thing where you're flying around with really fast around this level in kind of an uncontrolled fashion. Except that you have, again, another like little slowdown feature where you can kind of slow down for a couple seconds and like aim, but it's just constantly like a constant motion around the levels, collecting little items to unlock gates, and then you kind of have enemies that you have to kill to get through certain spots, but because there's like certain unkillable enemies, they're like circling them, you have to like use the slowdown to kind of line yourself up and then launch yourself through them. Very, very fun. I could see just getting lost in that for a couple hours. Just mindless. It's just, you're a sword. Yeah. Every single part of you does damage. The handle, if you touch something, it's hurting it.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. Otherwise, I think, go ahead, Flora.
I just want to say, generally speaking, wrap up thoughts on PAX 26.
Yeah, that's what I was going to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll head us there. didn't have any specific other games that I wanted to shout out, per se. But I did want to talk about the vibe this year, just briefly, where you all know this, but listeners might be interested to know that on day one, I felt really underwhelmed by the showcase this year. There weren't a lot of games that I cared about that were not out yet. Even the big flagship tentpole sort of like developers, publishers like Nintendo, for example, they put out Pokopia and like, what was the other game they had out? It was like the new Mario game.
Super Mario Wonder, yeah.
There are games that you can buy on the Switch 2 already that are already on shelves in stores.
And I find Nintendo does that a lot.
Nintendo does this weird thing. But at least last year we had Elden Ring Night Rain, which felt like the big flagship AAA anchor.
Right.
There wasn't really that sense of cohesion this year. I was very disappointed on day one because I walked around my business cards and thinking about like what I want to play and like scheduling appointments, and I didn't really care. But what I want to also flag is over the course of the next 2 days, my opinion completely changed. I went from feeling very bored, let's say, or uninspired by the offerings at hand to feeling like, oh my goodness, there are so many interesting, good, cool games coming out soon. They're just at places I didn't immediately see. And I feel like that's sort of the trend when I spoke with people this year, is a lot of people hit the show floor day one, have a lot to say or to show for it. But over the course of the day / in general, like the weekend, I think a lot of people sort of came around and found some hidden gems. And that's the beauty of an event like PAX, where you sort of are turned loose to a range of things that could be from a tiny 2-person team at a university that is never going to release on Steam, or you could play the brand new FromSoft game. You know, like there's that giant spectrum of what you're actually being presented with. And this year really felt like it embodied that. So I just want to say this to hopefully remind myself, but also anyone who goes to PAX in the future, like, don't just judge a book by its cover, even though it's tempting to do so. There's some really cool stuff under the surface pretty much every year.
Yeah, really well said.
I will second that. It was, I wasn't super jazzed about day one. I wasn't like, oh my God, I'm so excited about all these things to play. Like, I was like, I don't know, it feels like a bit of a down year. And then I tried to remind myself, like I tried not to get too down about it and remind myself that I think it was either last year or the year before we did our PAX wrap-up show. And I believe I said it was a grower, not a shower. And I was like, there have been past PAXs that have done this. So I'm like, it might show.
Either
we
way,
don't know
I'm
yet.
concerned.
Or sorry, it might grow. That's what I meant. Either way, I'll end it there. But yeah, it ended up, I wasn't disappointed by the end. I found a lot of good stuff. There's a lot of hidden gems, like you said. I still think it was a bit of a down year. I still thought there was I found less things that I was really excited about than I typically do, but I didn't leave disappointed. Like, I have a bunch of games that I want to play, or at least follow along their development and see where they go. So, and probably like 3 that I would play tonight if I could. So, yeah, nice. I no complaints. You know, another great year.
Awesome. Yeah, Alex, you already gave us your thoughts, but any final thoughts you want to share?
I guess echoing the sentiment that we're kind of coming across here, went in not with nothing that I was super, super excited about. But it was interesting because I think it was a lot of those really small, like 1, 2, under 5-person teams that like they would have a tiny booth. Someone would go play it and just word of mouth, like, hey, did you try this game? Oh, I didn't even know that was here because it's tucked away in a corner somewhere type of thing. And then you get surprised by a game you didn't expect to love.
Yeah, 100%. I forgot to quickly mention we played me, Jacob, Katie, and Alex played a fun little board game that I just have to shout out. Yeah, because there's lots of tabletop games too that are here, but it's just a quick little shout out to Sprout. It's a game kind of like blackjack where you're trying not to bust or you might accidentally kill your houseplants. So if that sounds interesting to you, go check out the Kickstarter. I think it's going live pretty soon. They're going to get into production and stuff. But yeah, quick little thing. So it's fun. Same thing. Really I echo what everyone says. Yeah.
I'm incredibly offended that I was not invited to the houseplant killing board game.
Well, if you want to blame anyone,
who do you think I am?
Continue blaming Jacob because he's the one that set up the appointment. So
and he's not here.
Talking crap about Jacob.
Jacob's fault.
All right, I'm gonna pull a Jacob here. Can we on 3? 1, 2, 3. Shame him. 1, 2, 3. Shame. Yeah, if you've been at his live panels, you'll understand. But I will also say PAX is a great place to play Magic the Gathering with people. I've made friends like just doing that. I forgot to bring my deck this year. Rookie mistake, but I did see a $13,700 card of the Black Lotus. So there's that. It disappeared somewhere mid-convention because I went back to take a photo of the price because no one believed me. Someone bought it at basically $14,000. Insane.
It was stolen by Jill Groat.
Thief.
Jill Groat stole that. Known thief Jill Groat stole the card.
The only other hard copy game I'm going to shout out is Cyberpunk. There was a huge booth of Cyberpunk 2077, the card game. There were a couple other games like Cult of the Lamb and Slay the Spire and stuff that have like come out with physical iterations, and I love that. But can I just do a quick panel run and then I'll shut up? How much do you think Slay the Spire was for the physical board game? Does anyone want to take a wager first? I'll go to Alex.
I'm going to say 120.
Okay, Katie.
Oh, I was going to say like 60 USD.
And Travis.
The fact that you're bringing it up makes me think it's like $200.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
So if we're Price is Righting, we can go different ways with this. I should have established rules, but it was about 150.
Wow.
Holy crap. Like I would love to play a physical Slay the Spire or Cult of the Lamb or Cyberpunk. All these games were in similar territory in terms of price. And the 150 for Slay the Spire blew my mind because Slay the Spire 2 just dropped and y'all were going crazy over that. And I'm like, I need to play this. But you know how much it is? Not $150 US. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that's right. Awesome. So that concludes our coverage of PAX East 2026. If you enjoyed the show, do us 2 favors. Send it to a friend and give us a 5-star review on your podcasting platform of choice. If you want to follow our show, you can do so at Blue Sky at leftbehindgameclub.bsky.social. You can follow us on Instagram at leftbehindgameclub if Jacob can ever get me access to that account. And then you can join our Discord at leftbehindgame.club/Discord. We have a lot of fun in there. Please come join us and chat about whatever games you seem interested for what we talked about. You can follow me on Blue Sky at traviscolnett.bsky.social. Katie, where can people find you?
I'm also on Blue Sky. I'm Lesperak, Lesperak, at bluesky.social. Did I get it right?
And Flora. I think so. B-Sky. Oh, you messed it up just a smidge. It's B-Sky. Ah, darn. You'll get it one of these days, Katie.
One day.
I believe in you. Yeah. Flora, what about you?
I'm not going to pretend to try and get the B-Sky part correct here, but I am at Flora Marigold on literally any platform you can think of: Twitch, Steam, Twitter, Instagram, anything of that choice, Discord. The relevant handles intertwining, but that's Flora Merigold. Only reason I spell that out is because people think it's marigold, like the flower with an A. It is not. It is like marigold with an E, like Triss Marigold from the Witcher series, the greatest piece of fantasy fiction.
Amazing.
You should all read. So,
and I will go to our inspiration, Alex. Where can the people find you?
You can't find me on any social media platform. So
amazing.
Good for you.
What a king, actually.
Inspiring work. Yes, honestly, we should all we aspire.
Imagine
to
if
be
we trimmed
you.
a minute off the end of these episodes every week, and we're just like, "All right, you can't find us anywhere.
We're not on the internet.
We're here, but nowhere else."
You can find me on the Left Behind Game Club Discord.
Hey.
That's about it.
There
What's
you
your
go.
at? Tell us your at.
Amazing.
Like, if I want to tag you after this episode and be like, "Oh my god, you picked the greatest games from PAX," how do I tell you that?
Afro.
Amazing.
I used to have an afro when I was a teenager, and it's just a nickname that's.
I was kind of wondering where that came from, but okay.
Amazing.
So fro like afro. Go for it.
Great. Oh my gosh. Okay, so that's the end of this week's episode. I guess that's one less PAX left behind. Shout out Mike Ruffalo.
Shout out Mike Ruffalo.
Okay, goodbye.
Bye.